things. How are you, Tony Culture?
I'm doing good. I gotta remember that Kemp part. That has to be the that's a hyphenated married name, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm an ex now, but you know, it is what it is.
Alright, you gotta give that. Alright. So welcome, Miss Valrie Kemp-Davis. Welcome to Tony Culture Time. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the young lady who wrote the book I've been mentioning all evening. And that book is called Jamaican, Miss Semi ABCs. Jamaican, Miss Semi ABCs. Now, it's obvious that you're speaking to me with a certain, what we call, twang. Now,
tell me, what does it sound like?
Well, it sounds like it sounds like an American twang. It sounds like a straight American twang. And considering that you wrote a book by the name of Jamaican, Miss Semi ABCs, I want to thank you first and foremost for sending the book off to give me an advance insight in the book. And as you mentioned, Caris is the protagonist, and initially I was thinking that was you. However, now after having heard your explanation, I see it's your daughter.
Yeah.
And I must commend you on recognizing that your daughter ought to get the Jamaican side of her. And,
absolutely. Actually, her father really insisted on that.
Oh, okay.
He always said, we have to eat them culture. They have to hear them culture. So in our home, it was a lot of reggae music, ska, Mentos, dance hall, a lot of curry, chicken, and red beans, and rice and peas, Atkins, saltfish, callaloo, the whole bit. And their friends became acclimated to the culture as well. Okay. So it's really interesting, though. Even though I say I'm an African American, a few years ago I had my father to do the genetic test. You know where they do the buccal swab.
Yes.
And I was looking for something else. I was looking for confirmation that I was Bahamian because of his last name Kemp.
Okay.
And we still haven't confirmed that, but what was definitive is that I too am Jamaican. I'm also Haitian. I have Cameroon in my blood, and I have Bahrain in my blood. And it's so interesting because all my life when I was a young girl, growing up in Tampa, Florida, people would ask me, "Are you Jamaican? Are you Jamaican? Are you Jamaican?" I would always look in the mirror and just wonder, well, what was it that they saw in my face that made them think that I was Jamaican? So it's really ironic that I ended up being very attached to the culture and end up at this point in my life really pushing for this culture, the beauty of the culture, because basically I feel that it's all of our stories because we as people of color were on that transatlantic train, and what happened was that we ourselves were dropped off at different places in the Middle Passage, and we're hybrids, and we kind of have a connection to each other no matter where we are in the globe.
Do you know?
And so I think.
I'm sorry. No, do you know I have met people who didn't believe that? I have met people who did not believe that. Now, when you say the results of that genetic search came back with Jamaican Haitian, did it actually say Jamaican or?
It did.
It did?
It did. It did. It said Jamaica. It said Haiti. It said Bahrain, and it said Cameroon.
Because
and I found and it seemed like what that looked like to me was just like it looked like the travel of my family. As far as our history genetically to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine that we probably started out in Bahrain and ended up in Cameroon, and then in Cameroon they took a lot of slaves out of the Cameroon.
Yeah,
a lot of slaves.
I would have expected them to say something like someplace in Africa, because the funny thing is, many of us, I think, are from the likes of Ghana. Many of us Jamaicans, so I would expect. But hey, I don't know. Sometimes I think about doing that kind of a genetic search, but yeah. Anyway, more about the book. First and foremost, so the book is it public? Is it published now? It's out, and
it is. It's published. It's on Amazon.com, and it's on Barnes and Nobles. And with Amazon, it's actually all over the world. It's in Japan, Malaysia, Portugal, Canada, the UK, and of course here in the States, and Italy and Australia. So it's everywhere. So all people have to do is just go to Amazon, type in Jamaican Mix Semi ABCs, and they can find it, all over the globe. So we give thanks for that. But
what are some of the go ahead, finish what you're saying.
No, I was just saying that people have been very receptive to it, even though I'm African American. They've been very receptive. I tried to make sure that I got that patois down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you who were your references and your consultants in regard to completing this.
Okay, so it started out initially with my ex-husband, my children. I have two daughters, by the way, Anastasia and Tatiana.
Okay.
And it started with my children's father when I began writing it in, I say like maybe 97, 96, 97. And members of the family, my ex-brother-in-law who lives in London. And then I did my own research to go beyond what I was taught or told. And, people need to be really mindful of how they live their lives, how they're portrayed, and so forth, because people are watching. So I did a lot of stuff looking at YouTube and watching footage of different things in reference to Jamaica, doing research, reading, watching shows like On Stage TV and Soul Flow TV and so on and so forth, and reading. And then my editor is C.J. Johnson. She is Jamaican, and she is the mother of Major Mitre, which is Bounty Killer's son. Okay. She did an excellent job tearing it up and helping me put it back together. So I give thanks for her for that. So that's how I put it together, and it was a journey. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to jump to the glossary. I'm looking at the glossary here, and
yes.
Nyam, derived from an African word, which means food in Fulani, and to eat in the Wolof language. Jamaicans also use the word for the same purposes.
Yes. So that's what I was saying. That is my own research, because I feel like, you have to get to the origins of the word. Patois is West African, and it's Creole, and it's English, broken English. It's a hodgepodge, and so a lot of times the things that we eat and the things that we say is based in our original culture, and we're not even aware of it. So maybe a Jamaican might not know that yam, when they say yam, the food and this and that, where it comes from, but that is where it comes from. That's part of my research.
Now, who are your specific targets for this book? Obviously, children. But
yes, it's for children. So you see the protagonist, which is Carrot, is 11 years old. So I would say starting probably from 9 on up to tween years. Tween like pre-teens. That would be the target group, because actually in 2018 I will have another book coming out called Jamaican Mix Semi ABCs 2. It's already written, but it's in finish in terms of the illustrations, and that will not be like this, how this is color illustrated. Big up to my illustrator, Michael Talbot, who is a Jamaican, and he's a student in Boston at Lesley University. The next book will be photo illustrated.
Yeah,
so that will be to an older audience. But let me say this, even though it's for children, this book right here, I always write whatever I write so that adults would find it interesting. Adults can learn from it and they won't be bored, especially if they're going to be discussing and having conversations with their children about the things that are in the book. So I want it to be appealing to the adults as well.
And their grandchildren. I can see a lot of grandmothers. Like myself in this book with the grands. For real.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I have to reiterate, big up to Michael Talbot for the illustrations. Isn't
he awesome? Yes. He's an awesome illustrator.
Done very well.
We worked together, so we came up with a concept together, and he ran with it, and then a lot of times I would go back and I say, tweak this, do that, do this, because I had a certain vision for certain things, and then certain things I didn't have a vision, but when he began his interpretation, it sparked more creativity in me that I would say, okay, we need to draw this illustration out so that it will reflect this, that, and the third. And so that's what we did. And I want to say this, and speaking of grandparents, Kemp-Davis is named after Aletha Kemp-Davis, which is my ex-husband's grandmother. And I really want to highlight why I'm really insisting on that name, Kemp-Davis, is because this lady died in obscurity. She was just your average grandmother. The family went through some crisis in terms of the family, breaking up. And, sometimes you need your extended family to help you get through the rough moments, and she did that. But this lady used to carry baskets on her head. She had osteoporosis. She was diabetic, and she really stepped in and helped this family. So if you look in the book toward the back, you see that I have a logo that says Kemp-Davis Collection, where collectively we carry this. Yeah. It's a play on her name. So what I'm trying to say is that we read with a purpose. Anytime you read any of my books, it's going to be that you read with a purpose, and that we need to collectively carry the load for our community. And that's based on a grandmother stepping in and being a grandmother and to save the family in terms of them going through their crisis moment. And so I really want her name to be known throughout the earth, because, she just died average and in obscurity, but there's nothing obscure about what she has done to help this family move forward. And her story is not a unique story. Her story is the story for many grandparents or uncles and aunts across the globe in many communities and many cultures. So big up to Aletha Kemp-Davis from Manchester.
And taken from that section of the book, Kemp-Davis Collection, here's Talk Up Youth. Youth is a unique multimedia. No, Talk Up Youth is a unique multimedia platform that gives Jamaican youth, and then you explain in parentheses, Jamaican pato for youth, which is youth, a voice. Its purpose is to focus exclusively on issues affecting young people, and its methods are noteworthy in that it is produced and driven by young people. That's so pretty much. I get what you're saying.
So as you can see, that is Empress Golden and her husband, Steve Golden's organization in Jamaica. They have a voice all around the globe. It is an organization where they train young people to be agents of multimedia, and they do their own shows. So they talk about a lot of controversial things like homosexuality, HIV, physical abuse of children in Jamaica, sexual abuse, child abuse, the good, the bad, the ugly. This is Empress and Steve Golden's platform, and I wanted to highlight that. You can find that on YouTube. You can find her organization on Facebook, and so I wanted people, because it's about collectively we carry this, so it's not about me selling books. You only know my name, and that's it. Right. It's about also pushing the platforms of others who are building up the nation and helping our youth globally. And so that's what Talk Up Youth, and as you can see, the next page next to that is building up Sizzla Youth Foundation as well.
Which, as it says here, the Sizzla Youth Foundation was founded by the reggae artist Sizzla. Its mission and purpose is to increase literacy programs while encouraging Jamaican children to excel academically, culturally, and creatively. And
yes.
So obviously you're in line with the Sizzla Foundation. You want to tell us a little more about that?
Yes, I would. Okay, so I'm partnering with the Sizzla Youth Foundation. Matter of fact, on July 31st, I will have a book launch in Bryce Hill Square, Augusttown near Judgment Yard, and it's in association with the Sizzla Youth Foundation. The Sizzla Youth Foundation is a few years old, but Mr. Kalanji, or I should say Mr. Miguel Collins, a.k.a. Sizzla Kalanji, as you know him as the artist, is a stakeholder in the dream. And again, it's about partnership. So he's partnered with the Augusttown Police Department, University of West Indies, Mona, like the Social Commission Justice. He's on board with the Prime Minister.
I see that with Sizzla and the Prime Minister here looking into this very book, Jamaican, they say. I see that picture.
Yeah, that picture actually was taken earlier this year, and that's to be honest, that's been photoshopped. But what they were looking at was something on Sizzla's phone where he was talking about education is of paramount importance. That's pretty much what he feels, and of course, Prime Minister Holness previously was the Minister of Education, so that is very much on his mind. Mm-hmm. So on August 1st is going to be the kickoff of the 179th Emancipation birthday celebration down in Augusttown, which is a very historical community. They've had their issues in terms of crime and so forth, but because of all the grassroots effort, the boots on the ground effort, and talking to the people and working with other agencies and so forth, last year in 2016, they had a zero murder rate, which is very rare and unheard of. So it is really captured.
That's quite impressive.
It's very impressive. Now, they've had some struggles this year, but it's only a few murders that they have had. But what has happened is the powers to be are studying them, trying to see what the variables are, so that it could be duplicated, replicated throughout the island in terms of other parishes being of low crime or no crime. And so because I believe in working with youth, I work with youth here in my community in East Chicago, Indiana. I'm the scholarship chairperson of my chapter. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I am, for the last few years, have been the scholarship chairperson. I do things in the community with kids.
I must add, Chicago, a very difficult situation. Not easy to handle, I would think.
No, it's not. And I have a unique perspective of it because I told you I've had another career, even though I've been writing for years. And what that career is in corrections. I was a correctional officer for 6 months in the state of Georgia with the Georgia Department of Corrections. Correctional counselor between the two states of Georgia and Illinois, up until till 99, and then from there parole officer, senior parole officer. So I worked behind the bars. I worked in work release. I worked with young offenders, women, men, and I worked on the street of Chicago, on the west side of Chicago, rough. But that being said, we are not without hope. And if you take your mission seriously as a light worker, that's what I call it, to spread a positive message in the darkness, and everybody works toward that, and everybody works toward giving the youth knowledge and teaching them and molding them and giving them positive instructions. And then if you have to reprimand them, don't tear them down to the point where they're demolished, then you can begin to see some differences. And so I've been doing this a long time, but I would say that I have had some victories. Yes, I have had some setbacks in terms of my career working with people, but we are not without hope. And if we can duplicate this on a community level, and then it can be like a pebble in the pond where it reverberates outward. That is what they're doing in Augusttown, and that is what resonates with me in terms of what I've tried to do in my career and had like-minded colleagues to do as well. And so, we felt it was the need to make sure that people were going to school in substance abuse program, building a relationship with the entire family, making sure people had counseling.
Well, Ms. Kemp,
yes, sir.
Just to say that the event that you're going to be attending in Augusttown, July 31st, and I think you mentioned August 1st, we would like to hear more about them after you have, been there. You consider Tony Culture Time and our streaming partners with your objectives as you have explained them, and some which you haven't quite touched on. But just consider us a platform on which you can definitely reach out to more people who may be available to help you and to get help through the works you're doing. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So pretty much, let's say that someone's listening right now and they say, I want to get that book. As you mentioned Amazon, but where else? What other means can someone get the book? Is it just Amazon that they can check, or where else?
Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Nobles, you said. Barnes and Nobles. Okay,
yes, so Barnes and Nobles.
So, ladies and gentlemen listening, you can just go to Barnes and Noble, whether the website or go to the brick and mortar store, and ask for Jamaican Missy, ABCs, by Valrie Kemp-Davis, and illustrated by Michael Talbot. Pretty much. Let me see what else I want to say about this book that I probably will think of it after we're done talking. But certainly, you know what? Why don't you take them to big up some of the people who got this, help give you some contribution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'd like to big up Michael Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. That is the father. You can see him in the book as Poopa Mikey. Poopa Mikey. I like to big up my two daughters, Anastasia and Tatiana Davis. I like to big up my parents, Hillary and Bertha Kemp, my editor, C.J. Johnson, out of Atlanta, Georgia, and her son, Major Major. I like to big up Richard Brown, the historian and director of media in Augusttown, Jamaica, Mr. Kenneth Wilson, program director for the Sizzla Youth Foundation. Like to big up Blessed from Toma Music Productions in Birmingham, England. I have to tell you about that one. Yeah. I like to bless up Zion, young Zion, 10-year-old Zion artist in Augusttown, and his father, Digger. Of course, Miguel Collins, Dada, a.k.a. Sizzla Kalanji, Empress Golden, her husband Stephen, Talk Up Youth. I like to big up LaTanya Hicks from East Chicago, Indiana, the public relations person, where I just did my book launch 2 weeks ago. I like to big up my sorority sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and my chapter East Chicago chapter, Eta Kappa Omega, friends and family alike, Mavis Darling Hill, my big sister in Nassau, Bahamas. Just like to say that I'm excited about what's going on. And when I said about the Toma Music Production and the young Zion boy that's in Augusttown, I actually have a song that will be accompanying this book. It's called Jamaican Missy ABCs, and young Zion, who's amazing, he is amazing, is a young artist. He's 10 years old. He's being featured on that. And another artist is alongside him, Callie Ranks, formerly of Def Jams Productions, is also on that, and that will be out in about 2 weeks. So we're doing great things, big things, and of course the producer from Toma Music, which is Blessed, that's what he's known as. Shout out to him in Birmingham for all his great work. Also like to give a shout out to E.K. Patterson at University of West Indies, Mona. She's the lead instructor for the GAT Fest. Doing amazing work down there. Dr. Ian Boxhill. I'll be working with them when I go down there in terms of doing a documentary alongside my daughter when we get down there August Town, because as I said, it's a very historical parish where Alexander Bedford came from, and they just had a success with their film in the film festival, Children of the Incursion. So that had to do with Judas and the aftermath of the children down there in Tivoli Gardens in Trenchtown. So yeah, and of course Tony Culture, gotta give you a shout out as well for your support. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And the streaming partners, of course, Mix 102 and Live FM Culture Mix Radio. For real, straight up.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the picture. And of course, I like to reiterate that in love and memory of Miss Alita Cardis.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Of Mandeville.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us this evening on 20 Culture Time presents Miss Valrie Kemp-Davis. And as I said, don't forget to update us. You know, you're a part of the mix here, so definitely leave us out.
And I want to tell you also, if you want to know more about me as the author, you can go to my website, which is www.caritascollection.com, www.caritascollection.com, CARADICECOLLECTION.com. You can find me on Facebook under Valrie Davis, and on Twitter, Davis Valrie.
Now, I was looking for
you can find the book on Amazon.com and Barnes & Nobles as well.
I was looking for my pen, so I'm writing CARRIDICE. Is it?
No, it's CARRADICE collection.com. All that's one word.
Collection has no S or has an X?
It has no S.
Okay.
Has no S.
.com.
Right. You can find me on, you can Google me up, and you can see all the different locations, because it's more places than Amazon and Barnes & Nobles, but I can't remember them right now, so you can find out. So, because some people might be listening as far away as maybe Ghana and Gambia, and that's really interesting, because I found out there's a lot of Africans are really interested in this book, and I guess it goes to how they love reggae music, and so forth. So,
well, I tell you something. I tell you something. I'm thinking right now, because my website at TonyCultureTime.com, I can feature items for sale. So we're going to talk about that and see what we can do.
Okay.
With that. So that, as I said, the collective is moving. So.
Yes, the collective movement. That's it. That's how we make it. We can't do it by ourselves.
Definitely. All right. Miss Kemp-Davis, thanks again for taking the time out. And I'm going to be reading this book by myself and then with my grands, because I have grands, yes. So I can read it with my grands, and definitely be putting it the word out there as to what I conclude about the book after I've read it more. So
I appreciate it, and Nuff Respect, big up to yourself, your show, everything that you're doing. You're very positive in the community, and we down here in the Midwest appreciate all that you do and stand for. So thank you for this opportunity.
Quite welcome. And let me say this right now, because I'm going to keep saying this until it happens next year. One Love Jamaica is an event I have out here in New Jersey every year, so you are in line to be there as long as your schedule and everything allows you to be, which is next year, June 23. So you can please put it on your calendar tentatively, and then we'll solidify it more as time goes on, okay?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, and thank you. And listening audience, thank you for your support and your interest.
Of course. And right now we're going to go to some music, of course, and guess what I'm going to play right now? Mr.
What would that be?
Sizzla. This one is
Yay!
make this secure. Yeah. That's a culture time. One goes Sizzla Kalonji. That was the author of the book Jamaican, Mr. ABCs. In line with the Sizzla Foundation. Watch out.
Just make them secure and no time to pretend. It's I and I create these problems, and if your heart is yours, how this world would end. For the sake of the children, make the children secure and no time to pretend. It's I and I create the problems, and if your heart is yours, how this world would end. For the sake of the children, tell them refrain from the negative. Life is for all and get the friend for live. Some don't really want to see the world as it is, so them get caught with all the things where they will be. Combination percent, combination percent, combination percent, combination.
Culture time.
Take the place. Why is it just like smoke? We have something that we teach all the stuff out to them that send me. Some of us were left from boy and the couple of people. But I know all of this. It's just job of this. Yes, yeah. Fool us on ya. Just make them secure and no time to pretend. It's I and I create these problems, and if your heart is yours, how this world would end. For the sake of the children, make the children secure and no time to pretend. It's I and I create the problems, and if your heart is yours, how this world would end. For the sake of the children, tell them refrain from the negative. Life is for all and get the friend for live. Some don't really want to see the world as it is, so them get caught with all the things where they will be. Foundation percent, we got to do it because what kind of vex there ain't no easy way about this. Some sides them, some come critique them wrong concept, but they put them a worship, make me children secure. I'm not time to pretend. I and I create these problems, and if your heart is yours, this one would have ended. The sake of the children, make the children secure. I'm not time to pretend. It's I and I cause the problems, and if your heart is really yours, why would I end? For the sake of the children, yeah, we tell the truth is that you've got to overcome my mission. Take your place, and let me get you the better now. I'm in you for it one time. What it takes? That's what you said. You must see me, oh gosh, I say I was crazy, sir. He inspired me a whole lot. Look at them, why did they touch? I can only the children is on the rock, but just let them secure. That's not time to pretend. He say I like cause these problems, and if your heart is really yours, why would I end with the sake of the children? So, let them secure. And no time to pretend. He say I like cause these problems, and if your heart is yours,
be acceptable. Else you know that you're gonna be responsible. And I say you find yourself for the instrument of influence, use it in a positive sense. Else you're gonna pay the consequence. Rebel speaks again. I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I have something to hurt them. Mind what you say to my sister. She could be the next prime minister. I say if you watch what you say to me daughter, cause in the long run she could be a doctor. When you mention that to me son Dan, I mean I want a little one to turn a gunman. Still you never listen. Your ears must be missing. Every day you say you're gonna shine and not listen. You're talking for the man, the lighter and the whistle. It make you forget all about that blessing. The words not from your mouth, meditation of your heart. You be free from negative. Of every sort, what a good go, you better know a good job. Be careful what you inject, what you just in the youth, them talk and just watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you say to my sister, cause she could be the next prime minister. I said be careful what you say to my daughter, cause in the long run, she could be a doctor. Oh, your friend mention that to me sometime. I mean, I wanna make a puppet on the government. Mr. Jaya, Mr. Jacket, you false prophet. Leading the children, I scare you for stop it. Just a money rocket, for put it in your pocket. Give the people water we carry in a basket. So if you find yourself with the instrument of influence, anytime you use it, use your conscience. The seed where you sow, it is no accident. And none of you shall escape the judgment. And watch where you teach your little children. Make sure I know something for hurt them. I said, for mind what you say to my sister, cause she could be the next prime minister. I said, be careful what you say to your daughter, cause in the long run, she could be a doctor. Oh, you can mention that to me, sister. You know, I'm a little what you say, but man, if you say you love the youth, and that is the truth, we will find out that you are judged by the fruit. If you teach them for shoot, and good prostitute, up on your shoulder, now go dilute. Tomorrow, man and woman is the youth of today. So at this end of age, you should lead them astray. You